following the course of the sun. The soldiers of the center smiling as they run. There's laughter like the fountains that face all and fear. It stirs the forest darkness of fear. It curls the blood-red crescent, the crescent of his lips. Through the inmost sea of all the earth is shaken with his ships. They have dared the white republics up the capes of Italy. They have dashed the Adriatic on the lion in the sea. And hope has cast his arms broad for agony and loss, and called the kings of Christendom for swords about the cross. The cold Queen of England is looking in the glass, and the shadow of Belva is yawning at the mass. From evening isles fantastical rings faint the Spanish gun, and the Lord upon the golden horn is laughing in the sun. Dim drums throbbing, and the hills half heard, where only on the nameless throne a crumbled princess stirred. Where risen from a doubtful season half retained skull, the last knight of Europe takes weapons from the wall. The last and lingering troubadours of whom the bird has sung, that once went singing southward when all the world was young. And that enormous silence, tiny and unafraid, comes up along the winding road, the noise of the crusade. Strong bombs groaning as the guns boom far, Don John of Austria is going to the war. Stiff flags straining in the night blast cold, in the gloom black purple, in the glints all gold. Torches like crimson on the copper kettle drums, then the tuggets, then the trumpets, and the cannon he comes. Don John laughing, the brave beard curled, spurring with his stirrups like the thrones of all the world, holding his head up for a flag of all three. Love light of Spain, hurrah! Death light of Africa. Don John of Austria is riding on the sea. My hound is in his paradise above the evening star. Don John of Austria is going to the war. He moves a mighty turban of the timeless hours needs. His turban that is woven of the sunsets and the seas. He shakes the peacock gardens as he rises from his knees. He strides on the treetops and is taller than the trees. And his voice through all the gardens is a thunder sent to bring Black Azrael and Ariel and Ammon on the wing. Giants in the Genii, multiplex of wing and eye, whose strong obedience broke the sky when Solomon was king. They rush in red and purple from the red clouds of morn, from temples where the yellow gods struck their eyes in scorn. They rise in green robes roaring from the green hells of the sea, where fallen skies and evil hues and eyeless creatures be. On them the sea gulls cluster, and the gray sea forests curl. Splapping with splendid sickness, the sickness of the pearl. They swell in sapphire smoke out of the blue cracks of the ground. They wonder, and they gather, and give worship to my hound. And he saith, break up the mountains where the hermit folk may hide, and chase the jowers flying night and day, not giving rest. For that which was our trouble comes again out of the west. We have set the seal of Solomon on all things under the sun, of knowledge and of sorrow and endurance of things done. But a noise is in the mountains, and I know the voice that shook our palaces 400 years ago. It is he that saith not kismet, it is he that knows not fate. It is Richard, it is Raymond, it is Godfrey at the gate. It is he who's lost his laughter when he counts the wager worth. Put down your feet upon the hour peace beyond the earth. For he heard drums groaning, and he heard guns jar. Don John of Austria was going to the war. Sun it's still, hurrah, bolt from Iberia. Don John of Austria is gone by Alcalar. St. Michael in his mountain on the ski roads of the north. And Don John of Austria is girding going forth. The gray seas glitter, and the sharp tides shift, and the sea folk wave when the red sails lift. He shakes his lance of iron, and he claps his boots of stone. The noise is gone through Normandy, the noise is gone alone. But the north is full of tangled things and texts and aching eyes, and dead is all the innocence of anger and surprise. And Christian killeth Christian in a narrow dusty room. And Christian dreadeth Christ that hath a newer face of doom. And Christian hated Mary that God kissed in Galilee. But Don John of Austria is riding on the sea. Don John shouting through the blast of the eclipse, crying with the trumpet of his lips, trumpet that saith, ha, Domino Gloria. Don John of Austria is shouting to the ships. King Philip in his closet with a fleece about his neck. Don John of Austria is on the deck. The walls are hung with velvet that is black and soft as sin. And little dwarves creep out of it, and little dwarves creep in. He holds a crystal phial that is colors like the moon. He touches and it tingles, and he trembles very soon. And his face is as a fungus of a leprous white and gray, like plants in a high house that are shuttered from the day. And death is in the phial, and the end of noble work. But Don John of Austria has fired upon the Turk. Don John's hunting, and his hounds have bayed. Booms away past Italy the rumor of his raid. Gun upon gun, ha ha! Gun upon gun, hurrah! Don John of Austria has loosed the cannonade. The Pope was in his chapel before the later battle broke. Don John of Austria is hidden in the smoke. The His house where God sits all the year. The secret window whence the world looks small and very dear. And he sees, as in a mirror on a monstrous twilight sea, the crescent of his cool ships, whose name is mystery. They fling great shadows forward, making cross and castle dark. They veil the plumed lions in the gallows of St. Mark. And above the ships are palaces of brown, black-bearded chiefs. Below the ships are prisons where, with multitudinous griefs, Christian captives, sick and sunless, all a labor and race repines. Like a race in sunken cities, like a nation in the mines. They're lost like slaves that swath in skies the morning hung. The stairways of the tallest gods when tyranny was young. And many one grows witless in his quiet room in hell, where a yellow face looks inward through the lattice of his cell. And he finds his God forgotten, and he seeks no more sign. But Don John of Austria has burst the battle line. Don John pounding from the slaughter painted poop, purpling all the ocean like a bloody pirate sloop. Scarlet running over on the silvers and the golds, breaking up the hatches up and bursting of the holds. Thronging of the thousands up that labor under sea, white for bliss, and blind for sun, and stunned for liberty. Vivat Hispania, Domino Gloria! Don John of Austria has set his people free. Cervantes on his galley sets his sword back in his sheath. Don John of Austria rides home with a wreath. He sees across the weary land a straggling road in Spain, up which a lean and foolish knight forever rides in vain. He smiles, but not his sultan smile, and he sells back the blade. But Don John of Austria rides home from the crusade.